You were never meant to live small, but somewhere along the way, you started shrinking your dreams, your voice, your ambitions. Maybe it was a teacher who told you you weren't good enough, a parent who never believed in you, or a failure that left a scar too deep to ignore. Over time, those experiences took root in your mind and became silent rules you started living by. Don't try too hard. Stay in your lane. Play it safe. You started to confuse comfort with purpose and survival with success. But deep down, you feel it. There's more to you than what you've become. More strength, more creativity, more impact, buried under layers of fear and false assumptions. The truth is, the most powerful battles we ever fight don't happen in the world around us. They happen in the space between our ears. Your mind can be your greatest weapon or your worst prison. And the sad reality is most people never leave that prison. They decorate it, justify it, even defend it, but never escape it. That's why your breakthrough won't come from outside approval, luck, or circumstance. It will come the moment you dare to question the thoughts that have held you hostage. The moment you realize that fear is a liar, doubt is a thief, and limitations are illusions. Because once you change your mind, you change your life. You were not born to repeat cycles. You were born to break them. The future you're dreaming of is waiting on the other side of the mental walls you've built, and the only thing keeping you from it is the belief that you can go beyond where you are. But what if you could? What if today was the day you stop accepting limits and start rewriting your story? Every human being is born with immense potential, raw, untapped, and often unrecognized. This potential isn't reserved for a special few. It lives in all of us. Yet despite this truth, so many people spend their lives playing small, living beneath their capabilities and doubting their own greatness. Why does this happen? The answer lies not in external circumstances, but in internal conditioning. From childhood, we're shaped by the world around us, what we're told, what we experience, and what we come to believe about ourselves. Over time, these beliefs become the invisible blueprint that dictates how we think, act, and live. The mind is powerful. It can either be your greatest ally or your most limiting force. What we believe sets the tone for every decision we make. If we believe we're not smart enough, we won't try. If we believe success is for others, we won't reach. If we believe we are stuck, we won't move. These beliefs don't reflect truth, they reflect programming. And unless we become aware of this programming, we unknowingly live within its boundary. We call it reality, but it's really just a reinforced mindset. The real challenge isn't the economy, your background, your lack of connections, or even your failures. The real challenge is breaking the internal ceilings that have been placed over your thinking. Those ceilings are subtle. They come in the form of fear, self-doubt, hesitation, and procrastination. They whisper lies like, you're not ready, you're too old, you don't have what it takes. And sadly, too many people accept those thoughts as fact. But here's the truth. You were never meant to live bound by those limitations. You were meant to rise, to expand, to grow, and to lead. The mind, when renewed and reprogrammed, becomes a force of transformation. It allows you to see possibilities where there were once walls. It helps you take bold steps where fear used to rule, and it empowers you to not just dream, but to act, to build, and to become. Breaking limitations in your mind is not just about thinking positively. It's about fundamentally shifting your identity, your beliefs, and your expectations. It's about reclaiming the power to think freely and live purposefully. And once that shift happens, everything around you begins to change because your inner world finally aligns with the life you were always meant to live. The greatest battles we face are not physical, they are mental. They're not fought on battlefields or in boardrooms, but in quiet moments of doubt, fear, and indecision. The mind, while capable of extraordinary creativity and power, can also be the source of our deepest limitations. These limitations are often invisible, yet they control the direction of our lives. We don't see them as walls because they were never built of bricks. They were built of thoughts. And because they exist in our minds, we rarely question them, we accept them, live by them, and allow them to define us. This is the heart of the problem. We become prisoners of a mindset that tells us what we can't do, what we shouldn't try, and who we'll never become. These limitations are often installed early in life through the words of others, the sting of failure, or the wounds of rejection. We start believing that success is for the fortunate, that dreams are unrealistic, and that playing it safe is the only way to survive. Even worse, we begin to normalize our limits, finding comfort in routines that never challenge us and environments that never stretch us. The challenge is compounded by the fact that society often rewards conformity and discourages risk. We're taught to stay in line, follow the rules, and not make too much noise. In doing so, we trade boldness for approval and purpose for predictability. As a result, countless people go through life with gifts unexplored, ideas unexpressed, and lives unfulfilled. All because of mental boundaries they never challenged. Many are stuck not because they lack talent, resources, or opportunity, but because they've built mental ceilings they refuse to shatter. They've told themselves the same story for so long that they've forgotten it was a story, not a fact. I'm not good enough. It's too late. People like me don't make it. These statements are not truths. They are chains. And until those chains are broken, progress remains impossible. The challenge then is to confront these mental limitations with honesty and courage, to identify the lies we've accepted as truth, to stop negotiating with our fears, and to finally realize that the most dangerous limits are not the ones others place on us, but the ones we place on ourselves. Breaking those limits is not just possible, it is essential for anyone who wants to live a life of purpose, freedom, and impact. Breaking mental limitations begins with awareness. Before any transformation can take place, there must first be recognition. Recognition that the thoughts we've been living by may not be true. Most people never stop to question the source of their beliefs. They operate on autopilot, repeating patterns inherited from parents, teachers, peers, and past experiences. These patterns become mental scripts that play over and over, dictating actions, decisions, and emotions. To break limitations, one must first examine those scripts and ask, where did this belief come from? Is it based on truth or fear? Is it empowering or restricting? True growth starts when we confront these beliefs head on. It's not comfortable. In fact, it can be painful to admit that the limitations we face are not just circumstantial. They're often internal. But this realization is the doorway to freedom. When you begin to challenge the validity of your self-imposed limits, you create space for new possibilities. The mind, once stretched by truth, cannot return to its original shape. Change happens when we replace old thoughts with new, intentional ones. This requires a commitment to reprogramming how we think. It means exposing ourselves to empowering ideas, surrounding ourselves with people who challenge our comfort zones, and deliberately stepping into situations that force us to grow. Each time we take a risk, try something new, or silence a voice of fear, we create new evidence for our brain to process. We start building a new identity, one based on capability, resilience, and belief. Another crucial aspect is language. The words we speak shape our reality. Speaking life over ourselves, declaring our potential, and rejecting negative self-talk rewires how we see the world and ourselves. The more you affirm your ability to rise, the more your mind will align with that truth. In this journey, discipline is key. The mind doesn't shift in a day. It takes repetition, patience, and intention. Just as bad habits are built over time, so is a strong, liberated mindset. Through daily practice, reading, journaling, reflecting, praying, and setting goals, we train the mind to think higher, believe deeper, and act bolder. Ultimately, breaking limitations is not about a single breakthrough moment. It's about building a lifestyle of breakthrough, a life where fear doesn't lead, doubt doesn't decide, and the past doesn't predict the future. It's a continuous process of rising above, again and again, until the mind becomes a tool of power rather than a barrier to destiny. There comes a moment when everything changes, not because the world shifts, but because something inside you does. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, a still voice inside that says, I've had enough. Enough of playing small, enough of living afraid, enough of making excuses for why things haven't changed. It's the moment you get tired of your own limitations and decide to confront the truth you've avoided for years. The only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is your mindset. This moment can come after failure, disappointment, or even success that still feels empty. It may hit you during a conversation, a quiet morning, or a painful realization that life is passing by and you've been stuck. You realize that the voices in your head telling you what you can do have no authority unless you give them power. And for the first time, you don't just want more, you believe it's possible. That single shift in belief creates a ripple effect that touches every area of your life. This internal shift becomes the foundation of action. You begin to move differently. You start saying yes to opportunities you once feared. You speak with more conviction. You stop needing validation from others because you've found it within yourself. You take that first step, the one you've delayed for months or even years, and you do it with trembling hands but a focused heart. That step might be launching a business, leaving a toxic environment, forgiving yourself, or daring to dream again. But it marks a turning point because it's not just action, it's alignment. Your mind, once a cage, now becomes a compass. You're not just thinking differently, you're seeing differently. Challenges still come, but you no longer shrink in front of them. Doubts still whisper, but they don't control the narrative. The ceiling you once lived under cracks wide open, and the air above it feels like freedom. This is the key moment. The breaking point and the breakthrough combine. It's not the end of the journey, but it's the moment that redefines it. From here, you don't return to who you were. You've seen too much, felt too much, and discovered too much about yourself to go back. Something has awakened. The limits that once felt like facts now feel like lies. And you're finally ready to live the life that's been waiting for your mind to catch up. The journey of breaking mental limitations is not just a motivational idea, it is a necessary transformation for anyone who desires to live fully. Throughout life, we encounter experiences, voices, and environments that condition us to think small, to doubt ourselves, and to believe that some things are simply out of reach. These limitations become familiar, almost comfortable, even when they cause frustration or disappointment. But comfort is not the same as purpose. and familiarity is not the same as freedom. When a person begins to awaken to the reality that their mind has been operating under false restrictions, the process of true change begins. It doesn't require perfection. It requires awareness and the courage to confront what has held you back. Every breakthrough starts internally before it ever shows up in your circumstances. Shifting how you think, what you believe, and how you speak about yourself sets the tone for every action you'll take moving forward. This is not just about positive thinking. It's about mental renewal. It's about rewiring the thought patterns that kept you in fear, shame, or stagnation, and replacing them with truth, confidence, and vision. As you renew your mind, you begin to see opportunities instead of obstacles, growth instead of limitation, and purpose instead of routine. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You also begin to take back power you may have given to fear, the opinions of others, or your own past failures. You realize that your mind does not have to be a battlefield of doubt and insecurity. It can be trained, strengthened, and focused toward what truly matters. And in doing so, your external world begins to mirror the internal strength you've cultivated. The journey doesn't end with one shift. It's a lifelong process of breaking and rebuilding, of learning and growing. But with every mental limit you destroy, you reclaim more of who you really are. You rise above the noise. You step into new levels of faith, creativity, and influence. And you begin to live not as a person shaped by fear, but as someone driven by purpose. In the end, your thoughts shape your life. And when your thoughts align with truth, there's nothing you can't rise above. The mind, once set free, opens doors you'd never imagined were possible. This freedom isn't just for the few. It's for anyone willing to break through. Now is the time to take control of your mind and break free from the limitations that have held you back for far too long. No more waiting for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or permission from others. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, and it is waiting for you to unlock its full potential. The first step toward transformation begins with a decision to no longer accept the lies of fear, doubt, and limitation. Start by becoming intentional about what you feed your mind. Surround yourself with empowering ideas, inspiring stories, and positive influences. Seek out books, podcasts, mentors, or communities that encourage growth and challenge your current way of thinking. Remember, growth rarely happens in isolation. You need to engage with environments and people who push you to expand beyond your comfort zone. Next, begin practicing self-awareness. Pay attention to the thoughts that run through your mind daily. Identify those that are negative, self-critical, or defeatist. Challenge them. Ask yourself, is this true? Does this serve me? Replace those limiting beliefs with empowering statements. Speak life over your dreams and your future every day. Words are powerful. They shape your reality more than you realize. Take action, even if it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. The mind can only be transformed through experience. Start small if you must. Try something new, take a calculated risk, or step into a situation that scares you. Each time you do, you're proving to yourself that those mental walls are breakable. Progress builds momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Hold yourself accountable. Set clear goals for your mental growth and track your progress. Celebrate victories, no matter how small, and learn from setbacks without allowing them to define you. Remember, breaking limitations is a journey, not a one-time event. Persistence is key. Lastly, commit to lifelong learning and renewal. Your mind is not static. It is adaptable and capable of continuous growth. Make a habit of renewing your mind daily through reflection, meditation, prayer, or whatever practices align with your values. This daily investment will pay dividends in resilience, clarity, and purpose. Your future is waiting on the other side of your mental barriers. Don't let fear or doubt decide your destiny any longer. Choose today to break free, to think bigger, and to live boldly. Your greatest breakthroughs begin in the mind. Take that step now. The life you've dreamed of is ready for you, if you're ready to claim it.